You're listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall, Episode 16, Special Interview Edition, brought to you by InvestComics.com, Famous Faces and Funnies in West Melbourne, Florida, and Con Artist Entertainment.
This week we have a very special guest. We have Paul Litch, primary grader and restoration detection specialist from CGC. What's up, Paul? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing great. Really glad to have you on, man. This is a really interesting topic to me. CG stuff has always been kind of fascinating to me. And,
cool.
And
very cool.
I have a few CGC books, so a lot of it's a little out of my price range, but I have a few things. And, you know, I have my problems with it, like I'm sure a lot of people do, but overall, I very much see it as an integral part of the collecting community and see its importance. And I do think it is, I think it's necessary, even though some people don't like it. I think people that don't just aren't seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, definitely we do have some detractors, but, you know, thankfully we have a lot of support. And we've been around for 13 years now, and, you know, we have become an integral part of this hobby, and we've protected a lot of people from overspending or investing poorly in their collection, and it's an honor to be trusted with that job. Awesome.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about CGC and how it works?
Well, essentially, we are an independent third-party certification company. We are a sister company of Numismatic Guarantee, Paper Money Guarantee, NCS, which is a conservation, and CCS, which is Classics Collectible Services that we just acquired last year. We are an independent third-party grading company, like I mentioned. People submit their books to us. We evaluate them. We grade them on a 10-point scale that's broken down into 25 different points. They get graded. The graders at no point in time have any idea whose books belong to whom. They're individually barcoded in receiving. Once they're graded, they go to encapsulation. They get put into our, state-of-the-art tamper-evident holder and shipped back to you.
That's awesome. Now, I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when a book gets graded, it's graded by 3 different graders, and then it goes to the primary grader, which is what you do. Is that correct?
Well, it can go a couple of different directions. I mean, yes, that is one of the ways it can go. It can go through restoration detection first, before it reaches a grader. It can go through a grader first. Essentially, in the room, almost every book is looked at by 3 or 4 people before it leaves the door, including quality control, and quality control is considered part of the grading team. They're in the grading room here with us. We do the quality control in the room, so there's no mistakes. We're right here to answer any questions and fix anything. And so there can be, if we disagree on a grade, for example, if I'm finalizing, right now I have an Avengers 1 in front of me. If I'm finalizing this Avengers 1, I'm at about 3.0. My other graders I have a 3.0 and a 2.5. In this case, I'll probably just give it the 3 and move on. But if they were at, 2.5 and a 2, I might hand it off to someone else to get yet another opinion before I finalize it. Mm-hmm. So there's no strict answer to that. It's it's a book. It's a case by case basis.
Okay.
But yes.
Now, as far as the restoration detection goes, is this something that's basically standard on all books of a certain age, or is it something that maybe looks a little suspect? Is it also a case-by-case basis, or does someone have to request this? How does it work?
No, it's all books, and the restoration is looked at, and the finalizer has the final say on what grade gets put on the book, what restoration notes get put on the book. All the finalizers are trained in restoration. We have Kent Bonnefeld, who is a restoration detection expert, and that's his only job is to look at books. And myself, I do pretty much whatever needs to be done. But all the finalizers are trained on restoration, how to spot it. we ever have any questions, we have no egos here. We are more than willing to talk about it and discuss books, and we are really trying to do the best jobs we can.
Well, that leads into like how did you get into this? Like how do other people do this? Like what do you?
How did I get? Well, let's see. I started at CGC in May '99.
Mm-hmm.
CGC didn't open until January 2000. So I was 6 months behind the scenes working. I had heard that NGC, Numismatic Guarantee, that they were going to create a comic book division, and I had sent in a resume early. My girlfriend, who is now my wife, at the time was working for NGC, and she had heard that they were opening this division. So I got my resume in early. I was just a collector at the time. I collected, a little bit of everything, mostly silver, bronze, and modern. Really unknown in the scene. I went on an interview. I took a grading test. I was willing to work cheap enough. I think that was a big thing.
Yeah, for a startup company, I'm sure that's a big thing.
Yeah, I worked the first 2 months for free, and then before I signed my contract on August 1st. And I've been working ever since and learning ever since. Now,
I know that there, obviously there is a big difference between, for years we had just the, the near mint down to, good, poor, fine, very fine, all that kind of stuff. Your all's grading scale, the point system, it's not a strict, I know there's like a comparison, I guess a 9 and above would be considered kind of near mint, but you all basically made your own scale, right? You have a very strict scale that you all created, correct?
Well, we didn't create it when we were being formed. The 10-point grading scale was being formed at right around the same time. Maybe we were a year behind it or so.
Mm-hmm.
But the 10-point grading scale, like I had mentioned, is broken down into 25 different points. Plus, recently, not so recently, maybe recently to me, but maybe about 5 years ago, we added a no-grade designation where we could do coverless books where, you can't really put a grade on a coverless book.
And that's more for authenticity, correct? Like that these are...
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's an authentic copy. It's just missing the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So we came up with a no grade. But that scale was around, maybe a year before us. So we didn't create it. We adopted it. What we did do is take the Overstreet price guide. They had a grading guide. And the Overstreet grading standards, we went around to 50 different collectors and dealers and got their interpretations of the Overstreet grading guide on a select number of books. So we would take this same grouping of books around to each dealer and collector, and they would grade them. And we would throw out the high, we would throw out the low, and we would look at the data that we had gathered and say, okay, well, this is the median of where the industry wants us and where we should stand. And, ever since that day, we've really tried to maintain that, whether our detractors say we sway one way or another occasionally.
Negatives I hear from a lot of people, and I never had an opinion because I never knew one way or the other, was that you guys just make this stuff up, and it's really awesome to hear that you all took these things out into the world and let the industry itself, build your guidelines. I think that's really awesome that, you have the people that handle these books, buy these books, collect these books are the ones that gave you the criteria that you built your point system around. I think it's really interesting.
Yes, and man, our job would be so much easier if we could just throw darts or spin a wheel.
Oh, man. Now, how is, with the restoration thing, do you actually do any restoration yourself, or do you...
I come from an art background,
mm-hmm.
And I majored at Mason Gross School of the Arts at Rutgers. I graduated from there with a photography and drawing degree. And, yeah, I have no idea how I got from photography to here. But I had an eye for when colors were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up restoration really quickly and restoration detection really quickly. And that really helped in my learning curve, I think. But I've never personally, done any restoration on books.
Mm-hmm.
I've helped remove restoration.
Yeah.
If someone needed help.
Yeah.
But I've not done the actual work. Matt Nelson, who runs CCS, he does restoration, or he has been known for his work in restoration. Right now, Kenny is, we outsourced to Kenny on the CGC chat boards. His name is Z-Man. He's one of the best in the business right now, and his stuff is amazing. He's doing leaf casting, stuff I can't even. I'm not sure I have the patience for.
Oh wow! So how much restored stuff do you get? Is it a common thing to get books that are either like? I guess. Is it more common for you to get books that are restored and you're trying to figure out how much has been restored, or do you get a lot of stuff that's been restored and trying to be hidden as restored or as non-restored?
You get both. You get a good mix. I mean, and it all seems to come at you all at once. You can go a day without seeing a restored book, and then all of a sudden the next day it seems like every book is hit. But you get obviously restored books where you're trying to best describe what's going on and fit it onto a finite size of the label and describe it as best as you can. And you get other people who are really trying to get something by you and really trying to, use what you've built to screw other people.
Yeah.
And that's really upsetting, but that's par for course.
Oh yeah, of course. Anytime there's anything to do with buying and selling, there's always going to be somebody out there trying to get over on somebody else. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yes, it is.
So I'm sure it really varies depending on the book and the age of the book and everything else. How long does it usually take you to grade a book? Is there kind of a general time you try to go by?
It will depend on, like you said, book by book. But I mean, it's fairly obvious that we count all the pages, so we have to make sure it's complete. So that takes time. But a book that's just off the shelf will take less time than an Action 1, where we really need to be meticulous about it. And that's not to say, one is better than the other. Well, I might say Action 1 is better than any book printed this week.
Yeah.
I think everyone would agree with me.
I'm pretty sure.
That's not to say that grading one or the other is better. That's just to say that a new book you're looking at maybe it's a 9.0 up to a 10. Occasionally you'll get creases or something that'll drop it down to a 7.5. But on Action 1, you're looking at every page, every single aspect of it, and it can be any grade. And you're also looking at, the book came out in 38, so you're looking at, I'm really bad at math.
About 75 years.
75 years
Yeah.
worth of damage versus, a week worth of damage. So it can be tricky and just take a lot more time.
Well, I know it amazed me when I was at MegaCon just a month or so ago, and I know you guys do the weekend grading service where you can drop your book off and pick it up on Sunday, and that has to be a lot of manpower doing a whole lot of work over a weekend, because I saw the amount of people over there, man. You had a ton of people.
Yeah, which show were you at?
At MegaCon in Orlando.
Oh, just recently?
Yeah, just like last month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We were still at our office, which is a nice thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got to go home at night.
Yeah.
But when we do on-site at Philly or Chicago, we bring out, it's 18 people we bring.
Oh, wow.
Plus our encapsulation machines, our sonic sealer, we pretty much pack up a mini version of our office and ship it across the country. And it's a lot of work, and you're there. Pretty much, you have to get everything done. There's no time for fun.
Yeah.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Oh, wow. That's just crazy to me. Now, that leads me into another question I had. I have some Silver Age stuff. I have a decent amount of Bronze Age stuff, tons of modern, obviously. I don't actually own any Golden Age books, unfortunately. It's out of my price range. But is there a different criteria when you're judging this older stuff? I mean, the paper stock was completely different. I'm sure the ink makeup was completely different. Like if I were to look at a 9 point, what was the highest action? Is it 9 point?
And highest action 1 is a 9.0.
9.0. So if I look at a 9.0 action 1 and something that, like the new Avengers book at a 9.0, and I put them side by side, am I going to be able to tell the difference in condition? Like, is it a different grading criteria kind of thing?
I mean, if I sit next to you, I could explain it
Yeah.
when we're looking at the books together.
Yeah.
But basically it's the same criteria. The difference comes in, like you were saying, really the manufacturing end. Books back, in 38 were made much differently than books today, which, look beautiful, and a lot of the stuff coming out today looks really great. It all comes down really to the manufacturing defects. So an older book, you have more common bindery tears. You have marble chipping, pre-marble chipping. That's much more common in the Silver Age marble books in the early 60s. You have, whereas opposed to today's books, where the manufacturing defects might present themselves as wrinkles or warps or stains or something like that. You still might get some bindery tears, but they're not going to be as large or predominant, and you're not going to be likely to have chips out like you would back in books from the early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it comes down to what was the book like when it came off the printer, when it came right out of the printer and was put right onto the newsstand. Does that defect look like it was made in manufacturing right when it was cut? Does that defect look like it was a handling defect where a 5-year-old kid ripped it? Now, there's a bit of detective work that goes along, and really the best way to get that kind of knowledge is really you just need the time. You need to sit down with the books. There's no real quick, okay, this is this answer. You just need to learn for yourself and learn with books and looking at books.
See, that has to be pretty awesome just to be able to handle like some of these older books, like just to be able to touch like an Action 1, Detective 27, Showcase 4, stuff like that. It has to be like a dream come true for a comic guy.
Yeah, I have a FF5 in front of me now, and it's actually it's one of my favorite books. I liked it.
Yeah.
A lot. I liked it. But yeah, the first time I graded one as a grader at CGC, I spent probably a half an hour on it because I was so like, oh my god, an FF5, what?
Yeah. Get lost in it.
You do, and unfortunately, I've gotten a bit jaded over the years. I'm an old man now, and I've been lucky enough to see the best comics in the world, and it's amazing. I get paid to look at funny books, and it's a great job.
That's pretty fantastic. Now, I know that the 10.0 rated books are very few and far between, and I'll see one every once in a while pop up, and especially if it's a bigger book that happens to hit a 10, the prices are incredible. But then I've even seen some really common run-of-the-mill books that had nothing special going on. There were 10.0s that went for a pretty outrageous amount. How rare are the 10.0s? I mean, how often do you come across one? It has to be pretty tough. With I know just opening shipping boxes sometimes, seeing a comic shop and helping out, like they're not gentle when they ship these books sometimes, you know?
They aren't. Well, obviously, when it comes to 10.0s, you're talking about books that they have absolutely zero manufacturing defects. Mm-hmm. And obviously, they have to have absolutely zero handling defects. So when you try and find something like that, mostly it has to be the best copy, the best example of that copy in the world, right?
Yeah.
Or at least one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So what we, let's see, I'm going right now to a gentleman whose name is Greg Holland. He runs a website named CGCdata.com.
Mm-hmm.
And on this website it breaks down our census. So let me...
That's another thing I love about the CGC is the fact that everything is barcoded and it's, you have the history of everything there. Like you have a full database of everything. So, somebody can, like, that's the ultimate categorization to me. You have everything in its exact condition.
Yeah.
I think it's a really big boon, even if you're not a person that wants to buy CGC books or even just to buy them to flip them. Like just the fact that you can get access to, the information about what's out there, is a really valuable tool, I think.
Yeah, the census is a huge thing. Now, it looks like we've done. My computer's running slow. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
We've done over 2 million comics. We've done, I believe, it's about 3,000 10.0s.
Wow, that's crazy.
Just to give you an example. But for whatever reason, I can't give you exact numbers because my computer just froze.
Oh, it's okay. That's a pretty good idea of what we're talking about, how rare they are, which does lend a little credence to the just the insane amount that some of these 10.0s are going for.
Yeah.
Now, have you? I don't know if you would. I'm sure this would probably stick in your head if something came by. Have you had any silver or golden age 10.0s?
For 156, I think, was the 1968.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 799 or a 10. I don't recall, but I think that's the oldest Silver Age 10.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe there is a Golden Age 99.
Oh, wow.
And we've done some of the Aurora model pamphlets
mm-hmm.
that came in the Aurora model kits. We've
Yeah.
done some of those, and they've been 99s and 10s.
Wow. Just that idea, it baffles me because you hear all these stories about, you hear our grandparents talk about how they had all these books when they were kids and their parents threw them away. And just the very idea that one of them, that's something from the 60s, has been, pristine for this long,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That is crazy. Now, I want to ask you about the digital market, like how you feel about digital books, since you're a person who very much deals in the physical, the ultimate level of the physicality of these books.
Yeah, right. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot get more anti-digital, in theory than what you do. But how do you feel about digital books? And my thing is, I think it maybe helps your market because one of the things I've always heard people talk about, which I can understand a little bit, is that CGC books are sealed. You can't enjoy the book. If I spend thousands of dollars on the CGC Fantastic Four number 5, I want to be able to read it. And then the argument was, well, art is behind glass. Art is in a frame. And they're like, well, you can, you're only seeing the art. You don't have to see behind the art. But I think, to me, with digital, with everything, pretty much everything in the world is available digitally now. Like, you can go all the way back to the 30s, pre-Action 1, early detective stuff and get digital copies of it. They're not great, but, the fact that you can read anything you want, I think maybe it's just me being crazy, but to me it seemed like maybe it helps you because somebody can go and get that dream book they have and still read it anytime they want to, but they still have that book,
Yeah, I personally, yeah, I love digital comics, so I'm going on a trip to to Germany next month, and I'm bringing, I'm downloading a bunch of digital books on my Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm personally all for it as far as work goes. I don't think they've been around for a few years now. It hasn't slowed us down. I think people are always going to collect what they love, and they want something tangible, and they want something they can hold in their hands. They want something they can put up on their wall that they can, show their kids and pass on to the next generation. I think comic books are a unique American art form, like jazz. I think we're going to always be around. I don't see it going anywhere. And people love to draw. And I think and tell stories, and it's been that way, for eons. I don't see it going anywhere.
That's really interesting. I like to hear that somebody who's so in with the physical books likes digital too, because I'm a collector of many things, as most comic collectors are, and I love to hold the books. I love I like the smell of books. I like everything about it, but I love the just ease and portability of digital books. I can load my iPad up with a couple hundred books and keep myself busy for a whole weekend if we're traveling or whatever. And I love that aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly. And MP3s came out, and if I still like something, I still go out and buy the CD.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still load up my iPod with digital music, but I still, I love vinyl, so I'll go out and I'll get the vinyl or I'll get the CD. The one thing I will say, MP3s have opened me up to a lot more artists that I may not have ever heard of. So, when you get Kickstarter and you get digital comics, it's an exciting time to be an artist, and you may get more fans than you would have if you really had to still struggle to break into the comic book scene. So that's another positive for digital that I see.
Oh, definitely. Digital stuff has definitely opened me up to, especially in indie books and stuff like that. If I can grab a digital copy for cheap, or, Comixology does so much free stuff all the time that if I can grab it for cheap or free and something I like, I'll definitely go out and support it. I'll go buy it, in a physical copy, too. Because, there are a lot of books that I'll buy digitally and then go out and buy physically also. So,
yeah.
And, speaking of records, this Saturday is Record Store Day, if you weren't aware of it.
I was not aware.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This Saturday, all over the country, every record store. We have a great little record store here in Melbourne that I'm going to Saturday about noon. So
very cool.
I'm pretty stoked about that. Can you tell us a little bit about your collection? Like what do you have a crazy CGC collection?
I can tell you very little. I barely have one.
Really?
Yeah. So essentially, CGC creators aren't allowed to buy and sell comics.
Really?
Commercially, yes. So I can't commercially buy and sell comics. That's part of staying independent, third-party company.
Mm-hmm.
I can buy for my collection. However, I kind of take the stance where I think it's probably right for the industry if I don't, because I don't want to be put in an awkward position either buying something, especially if it's certified. Then someone will go, "Hey, did you grade this lower so you can buy it off me for cheaper?"
Yeah.
So I just kind of don't. I just take my joy in what I grade every day.
Yeah.
But I do, like I said, I do like vinyl. I do collect some art, some comic book art, and I just do my thing. I do get signatures occasionally.
Cool. Now, did you have something to do with the signature series?
Yeah, I was one of the people who brought signature series to market. We tried to develop a way where we can authenticate signatures with 100% accuracy, and the only way we can do that is if we witness them. So signature series is the yellow label for certified books, and it is books that we witness the signature. So we will stand in front of Stan Lee and watch him sign this book, and then it goes straight to grading and authenticate it as real. Obviously, unfortunately, we can't do that for anything that Jack Kirby signed because he passed before Signature Series came to be.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool thing, and what I like about it is the integrity of it. We're not gonna put a sticker on it or something and say, well, our experts think that this Abraham Lincoln signature on this FF9 is right. So, I'm not about to do that. So,
and I see that happen a lot in collectibles. Is you'll have one expert say that looks real to me, and the next guy says that doesn't look real to me. So I like this service because it's real because it was witnessed. I like that a lot.
Yes, we're very protective of it because it's a very unique thing in any collectible industry. We only will do it if we watch it. Mm-hmm. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Now, does the signature in any way affect the grade?
Well, honestly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
If the book was signed, it would get and we didn't witness it, it would get a green label, which means it's the grade of the book, say 9.4, except, oh, hey, it's signed on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I was going to grade it without saying, oh, except, okay, it's signed on, it might be a 7.5 or 7,
mm-hmm.
just because there's now something added to the book that damages it.
Yeah.
So the qualified grade, and this is also like the Signature Series, except the difference is that we are authenticating the Signature Series
mm-hmm.
signature. We're saying, okay, this book is a 9.4, and we witnessed the signature
mm-hmm.
in the case of the Signature Series. In the case of qualified, this book is being qualified. It would have been a 9.4 had it not been signed.
Mm-hmm.
So
now,
that's how we treat it.
Yeah. Now I'm saying it's like if you've got a say a 9.4 book that is 9.4 unsigned, and then you witness it get signed, does the actual marking of the book is there any way that a signature can actually drop a grade, like even if it's a certified grade?
Yeah, absolutely. We do for Signature Series anyway.
Yeah.
We do downgrade if a signature is badly smudged.
Okay.
Now it's just a smudge on a book.
Yeah.
That wasn't the purpose. That wasn't the intent, obviously. So we hit it for that. I've seen Stan. Love him. God bless him. But he's taken a pen to a book and ripped it. There's not much you can do about that.
Damn.
Well, the guy is a machine. He signs nonstop. Of course, something's going to happen along the way.
I can't imagine how many times that guy signs in a day at a convention. Like, it's got to be ridiculous.
Just watching him, his hand is just like it's just on go.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even need to pay attention to it anymore. It doesn't. It's asleep. It has its own mind.
I wonder if he almost thinks his last name is Excelsior at this point.
Yeah. He still has more energy than I do at the end of the day, though, let me tell you. That's amazing.
That's crazy. Well, we're about ready to wrap it up, I guess. We'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy. You've got, did you say you had an Avengers 1 in front of you earlier?
Right now I'm on FF9.
That's crazy.
I slowed down these last few minutes. I started with the FF5. I only got through a few.
Well, I guess one final question before we let you go is, like I said earlier, CGC it's polarizing. It's very divisive. It seems to be mostly a love it or hate it kind of thing. I tend to enjoy it a lot. I don't buy a lot because it does get expensive, but I have a few. I have a Signature Series book. I've got some other stuff. So if I were a guy that wasn't sold and just didn't like the idea of CGC, what would you tell me? Like, give me your pitch on what is good about CGC.
My pitch on CGC?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I would ask you what you're interested in, what kind of collecting you want to do, what books you like, and that sort of thing. Obviously, I think CGC is necessary if you're going to buy an Action 1. If you're going to put that kind of money down on a book, you really should know what you're getting. Before I started at CGC, buying a $50 comic was a big deal to me because $50 when you're a starving artist and you're a photographer, that's a lot of freaking money.
Yes, it is.
So trying to justify spending that to get a book graded, if you're trying to resell, you should do your research on the books you're going to submit before you submit them. If you're trying to turn a profit, if you're trying to buy something and not get screwed over, you should use CGC to make sure that what you're getting is actually what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is especially the case over the internet. I mean, eBay was like the Wild West before we came along. You had no idea what you were going to get.
Oh, yeah.
Just because someone called it a fine, then you had next to no recourse. We really leveled the playing field there, and we leveled the playing field between the buyer and the seller. Now it's easier to agree on a price in some cases, and we've been around for 13 years, and we've survived this long for a reason. We are necessary, whether we're polarizing or not. And isn't it almost a good thing that we are? I mean, if everyone was complacent, then just send it to see. That I would worry a little more then. It's kind of like grading. When I hear feedback saying you guys are too loose, and it's coming from everybody, and no one is screaming that we're too tight, then you go, huh? But conversely, if everyone's screaming you're too tight, and you still have people saying you're too loose, you're probably fine.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much, people there are always going to be people out there that hate structure and order until it's not there anymore and they realize that it's very necessary,
And also people's intentions on why they're saying what they're saying or why their opinion is what it is. Some people might not like it because, they had to buy books back that they worked on.
Yeah.
You don't know everyone's intent.
Cool. Well, Paul, thank you very much, man. This was really interesting, really fascinating, actually. I learned a lot, and I think it's going to educate some of our listeners, man. Because a lot of people we have a decent amount of listeners that are kind of new or very casual comic readers that don't really know a lot about the actual comic industry. There's like a couple books here and there, and we got some people that are detractors, and some people that love CGC, and some people that just don't really know what it's about. So I think you did a really awesome job of educating some people out there. I know you helped me a lot, so I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
No worries, Sean. No worries. Thanks for having me anytime, man.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Paul. Have a good one, man.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.